you have to keep your employees happy because that's who takes care of your people. And customers are going to tell people that you have a good experience.
Customer experience wisdom, a dash of travel talk. We've been cleared for takeoff.
The best meals are served outside and require a passport.
Welcome back, CX Passport travelers. Today, it gets yummy as we have the chance to talk with Lacey Davidson, Human Resources Manager at JumBurrito.
Hi.
Thank you again to iSolved for sponsoring this CX Passport episode. JumBurrito serves authentic, fresh Mexican food throughout West Texas. With 6 locations in 2 cities and a tortilla and sauce factory, they stay pretty busy. Family owned and operated for over 40 years, JumBurrito treats all their employees as if they're a part of that family. Okay, we've heard companies say that and use that phrase before, but there's something to the JumBurrito story that rang true with me. One thing that stood out to me is the fact that this is a local brand. Mm-hmm. Employee experience isn't just for the national and global players. It's real for all company sizes. In fact, there's probably a lesson for all of those national and global players in this JumBurrito story. I haven't had the chance to experience JumBurrito yet. I can assure you, though, that on the next road trip with my daughter, bringing her home for Christmas from the University of Arizona to our home in Frisco, Texas, there will be a stop at JumBurrito in Midland, Texas. And hopefully that'll give me a chance to meet today's guest in person as well. Lacey, welcome to CX Passport.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I am. And I know we talked about that over email before, but I'm sincere. I plan to stop in there and get a burrito. I don't care what time we're rolling through Midland. We're going to get one.
Well, I told Jose yesterday that I had this podcast today, and I told him, I was like, well, if he comes, I told him to call me so we can meet him for lunch, or at least I'll go meet him.
Well, when you're talking about a tortilla factory and a sauce factory, you've got everything that I love. So I cannot wait for this.
Yes.
But I imagine the listener viewer does not want to hear about my hunger. So let's just get into the show today.
I'll just make everybody else hungry.
Ooh, I like that. Everybody fly right at Southwest and other airlines, drop right into Midland. So there's your path to get there. Yeah. So we talked about Midland, Texas. This is a local business. So most of the CX Passport travelers don't know much about JumBurrito. So tell me a little bit about the brand and your role there.
I joined 13 years ago, HR manager, payroll, office manager kind of thing. It's a small office. But December, we're actually celebrating our 45th anniversary. We've been around a while. The owners were, I believe, engaged at the time. And instead of using their $2,000 to put a down payment on a house, they went to the bank and got a loan to buy this little building that used to be a pharmacy on the east side of town. And started JumBurrito, and it's just grown from there. We have, like you said, 6 restaurant locations. The tortilla factory was actually in that little building for probably till about 20 years ago until he bought a bigger property. And that's one of my favorite places because you walk in and you just smell tortillas and jalapenos a little bit for our green chili sauce that we make. But
oh my gosh,
it's all of our stuff. If you do come, I might even, if it's early enough, try to get you a tour of the tortilla factory.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's like one of those shows where I like on the Science Channel where it shows you how things get made, like the food ones and stuff on Food Network. So you get to just watch the tortillas be made on this big long conveyor belt.
It gives me a little, I want to get back to, your role and your experience there, but it reminds me of when I was a kid growing up in Austin. I'm talking about like early elementary school, first grade, second grade, third grade, those kind of years. There was a butter crust bread bakery on Airport Boulevard in Austin. Yes. And my Austin and Texas listeners will certainly remember it. You would drive by there and that smell of baked bread would be so awesome. And when you knew it was field trip tour day 2, Butter Crust Bakery. It was so exciting. So I imagine that if y'all are hooking up with the Midland schools there, that I imagine the Tortilla Factory tour is one of the best.
We haven't started anything like that. I think they should. I'm like, maybe we could get more like people that would want to work for us even more fast than they already do,
So tell me, I'm guilty. Listeners, I'm sorry. It's my fault. But Lacey, tell me a little bit more about your role there and what you're doing there in that. No, not sorry. It's me. I'm the host. I'm driving us this way down food path.
Like I said, I've been with the company a little over 13 years. We did payroll in-house. So I was that person. And it's a small office, so I do wear a lot of hats. It's only me and another part-time person. Mm-hmm. But we have bright software in place where everything's just kind of streamlined. When I started here, it was me and two other full-time women that worked in the office. Now it's me and another part-time person. So it's like we split that labor in half with not just iSolved, but other like stuff at the restaurants, software for them, software for accounting. A lot of things switched in the last 13 years.
Hey there, CX Passport travelers. I want to let you know about CX Passport Live. CX Passport Live helps brands amplify their event's impact with the power of live, in-person podcasting. Brands partner with CX Passport Live at their on-site event to help excite attendees, reward high-value customers, and convert potential customers. Bring a new level of energy and excitement to your event and amplify your brand's impact with CX Passport Live. Learn more at cxpassportlive.com. Now, back to the show. So you mentioned that. So you put in iSolved, the sponsor for the episode, and there was a period of time before. There was pre-iSolved, and then there was, when it was there. What was it when you were there you realized that getting that process stabilized, that it was going to be not just important to the efficiency of the office, but important to the employee experience?
Well, we decided we need outside help when the ACA compliance came around. We had enough employees that it would require us to offer insurance for our full-time employees, and went to a couple of seminars and watched things online. And I was like, this is too much for me. I don't have this as a background. I kind of fell into it.
Right.
And so I'm like, this is a big task. And so we made that decision to go outsourcing payroll. And we talked to a few different companies, and iSolve just had what we needed. It worked out better for me because it took some time off my desk, but it also gave the employees a lot more virtual access. Like they could see their paychecks online, they could get direct deposit immediately, all these things. So whoever we went with, we wanted this, and this, and iSolve had the best plan for us.
And that's awesome. You said that, things were better for you. You started to mention they're better for the employees as well, because, and I've talked with some other folks about, optimizing the HR world. And a lot of time that software makes the HR person's role better. This is the case, though. It extends into the employee experience. And there's some stories that you have shared with me about, people really had their eyes open once they had access to some of this information.
Well, not only so we did payroll in-house. I was cutting checks on Wednesday, Jose signing them and stuffing them in bags and getting them to employees on Friday mornings. We have people wanting to go on lunch break right then, or on their break to take their paychecks to the bank.
Right.
And I'm like, well, we need something better than that. So that's why we did the direct deposit. But then we also wanted all the other benefits of that. So they could look at their yearly hours. They could see how much I have one person that helps us out. He's on disability and he can't make over a certain amount per year. So he can watch that on his app on his phone and not just look at a paycheck stub. He can see it all. And if he loses a paycheck stub, he has access to it.
And this isn't just, there's a story, it's either in the book that I read or you told me about it, that we're talking about it changing people's lives too, not just the simplicity and the efficiency of having your paycheck deposited and the like. There's people that suddenly realize, wait, I'm actually more secure for the retirement stages of life. What was that story?
Yeah, our 401k, we've had it since before I started at JumBurrito. He's had a lot of benefits for our employees, soft benefits, hard benefits, and one of them's been 401k and matching. And of course, you want to be better for the environment, like go paperless and stuff. But we have a lot of English as their second language employees. We have a lot of 16-year-olds. We have a wide range of employees. So they're in this 401k program. They signed up for it. They know they're putting money in their check, out of their check into it. They know Jose is matching it, but they don't know what they've got because they don't have access to the website. They don't have a computer at home. The website's maybe not as mobile friendly as they need it to be, or they just didn't think about it. Right. And so we talked to them and see if they could do paper statements for us quarterly. And now our employees are getting those paper statements and seeing, oh, I've got $5,000 already saved and Jose's matched $5,000. I've got $10,000 in a 401k account that I started 3 years ago or whatever it was.
And think about, I love that thought of not having any realization that there's anything in there. And suddenly, oh, wait,
Yeah.
10K saved away. This is a
Yeah.
big deal.
Yes, because I have employees that, I mean, it's a part-time. A lot of people think restaurants or especially quick service industry, it's, a part-time throwaway job. I had it at 16. No, I've got people that have been here I've got one lady in Odessa that's been with us for over 30 years. And
Wow.
she's one of the cooks in the kitchen, and she's one of the, trainers that they work over there, and they look at that lady as a mentor. So, but a lot of even I've had my 16-year-olds that come in and they stick around with us because we offer tuition reimbursement. So there's a lot of other things that I try to get my people, and I don't do it. Jose does it, Jose and Diane. But I'm like, hey, this is what we offer. Stick around with me,
I don't even think you realize it. You've said something that I hope listeners are hearing this as well. You've referred to Jose and Diane. It shows the family, mm-hmm. the relationship element that exists inside of this business. And that's some of the lessons, a national and a global player. I don't know that the head of HR is necessarily referring to the owners of the company by their first names. Yeah. They might not even know who that is, given the levels that might exist. Let's talk about it, because we've got the tool in place now, right? It's mm-hmm. there, but purchasing and just the technology of implementing it is one thing. But getting buy-in for that's a lot of change, especially when we're talking about a small company, when we're talking about a relationship company, when we're talking about decades of experience. Mm-hmm. How did you go from that purchasing of a tool to getting that buy-in for using it and then actually seeing business results that you'd hope to gain from this?
Well, like I said, I'm just here and I will submit something to them and it's like, okay, here, we're going to do this. We knew we had to do it. I told mm-hmm. them I can't handle this. And so when we went with iSolved and we went looking for other things and came with iSolved, that was the main thing is, what can it do for us? And then what can it do for our employees? Mm-hmm. Saves time. Like I said, it's a little office. It took so much work off of my desk.
Can we spend more time with the employee? And what, because you said, they get more access. Why does that matter to them? I know it sounds like just an easy sort of, okay, it matters to them. But why? What does that do to them when they're seeing this information available to them?
Well, like I said earlier, too, they're not running off to go cash a check. They're not running off to go put a check in the bank. It's direct deposit. They have that. And then with the app, not only can they see that, they can get their W-2s at the end of the year electronically. It just downloads to their phone. It offers way more than we do because we're such a small little company mm-hmm. that we just want this, and this.
Well, so this, we're talking about kind of the benefits, the offers, that sort of stuff. Outside of the iSolved world, you mentioned the benefits of 401k. Mm-hmm. You've told me that there's even vacation, even for part-time employees, which surprised me, employee gifts. The reality, though, is JumBurrito's a business. Mm-hmm. It isn't just kindness plays here. This is mm-hmm. their business reasons. Y'all are a for-profit business. What are these tangible business results that you're seeing from focusing on employee experience?
The main, they do that anyway, just because he helps the community. But I see it as a hiring tool also. Mm-hmm. I can't compete with chain restaurants, the big guys, mm-hmm. We are out here in the oil field, in the oil and gas industry. If you look online, there's like 650, what are they called? Rigs. And there's 400 and something in the Permian Basin. So we have like 80% of oil field workers, which mm-hmm. means that's where the 18-year-olds want to go because that's where the money is. So I've got to find a way to attract the 16-year-olds to JumBurrito, whereas the other bigger restaurant chains can offer $15 an hour. I can't do $15 an hour, but I can do free employee meals where a lot of places you have to pay for your employee meal. You pay for half of it. We do tuition reimbursements. We do gifts at Christmas. We used to have a big Christmas party before COVID, the 401k and the matching and the vacation, like you mentioned. Even if I start working at JumBurrito, I'm 16 years old. The next year after my year anniversary comes up, I get a free week's vacation. Like it's your average hours. I didn't have that at 17 years old.
I can assure you, I didn't have it at Simon David grocery store when I was bagging groceries at 16. So, nobody gave me any vacation.
Yeah, I'm like, it's not a 40-hour vacation. It's the average of hours that you worked. And when I was in high school, that would have been about a 30-hour vacation for me because I tried to work all that I could, but
Right.
I didn't have a job that offered me a 17-year-old vacation pay.
Are you seeing a stickiness to the employee? Not only like out in the community, is there the recognition amongst the 16, maybe the word gets around the high school, hey, JumBurrito does this. Are you seeing that it's easier to hire, and are you seeing a stickiness to your talent because of these benefits that are being offered?
Yeah. And like I said, being out here, you could walk across the street and get another job. We don't have to like treat you with, we had to have to treat people with kid gloves if you get mad, but you want to give your employee the best experience and then want to keep them. So that's where all those soft benefits come in. And that's where like everybody says they're a family, but it's like literally we're ran by a family. So, and they're in the stores every day. Like all of our employees know who Jose is. All of our employees know who Diane is. They walk in and it's like, oh, hi guys. So they know them. And we have our big Christmas party before COVID, and they would walk around and hang out and eat like dinner with them. So it's like I said, it is a family thing, but that's what we have to do to make sure that we get those people to, first of all, apply. I need those soft benefits because I can't advertise $15 an hour, but then they come in and they see all the other stuff that we have to offer.
Lacey, I love the family aspect of that. There's just something that makes me smile about that. And certainly, yes, I did not have that when I was bagging groceries or even when I was promoted to checker. I still did not get tapped into those benefits. So I can see how that would be an attractive thing. I want to stop down here. There's no first class lounges on the road between Arizona and here, between Midland and where I live. But we've had the chance to do some traveling. I know you have. I know I have. And it can be nice to stop down in the lounge. So we're going to do that today. Join me here in the first class lounge. We'll move quickly and have a little bit of fun here. What is a dream travel location from your past?
I just this June went to the Bahamas with a family vacation.
Nice.
My 3 nephews, my brother and sister-in-law, my mom and dad. We stayed at a resort and we didn't really go out too much because we have little ones, but it was just fun to be with family. And that was the most recent one. We had such amazing food and laid on the beach. And that was that for the last little bit. That's the best place I've gone so far.
It does sound nice, especially we talked about this, the timing of this. There's a big weather storm about to hit the Dallas area, and it's kind of getting nasty here. Yeah, sitting on a beach sounds kind of nice. I can see why.
Yes,
what about what's a dream travel location you've not been to yet?
I haven't done a lot of international travel besides that, and Puerto Rico isn't even international. We went there a few years ago too. But Ireland, I think, I love the moody weather. I love the greens. It's one of my favorite colors. But I don't know. I like the probably the romanticized version of Ireland. But I would love to see Ireland.
And listeners, if you're not able to see this, Lacey is wearing green today, and I don't think that was planned. So I think there's a sincere love of green and a sincere hope to get to Ireland someday.
Yes.
This is a question that, when I'm asking somebody in the restaurant industry, I don't know about, but I'm very curious. What is a favorite thing of yours to eat?
I'm not saying it because I work for a Mexican food place, but even on my dating app, it says must love Mexican food. Like I will eat Mexican food 4 or 5 days a week. Like it's breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But yeah, that's my favorite thing. Chips and queso, free chips and salsa. Like you could just make a meal of that. So I'm not saying that just because I work for one, but it really is my favorite.
There's so many things in there, and I'm loving that that's on your dating profile. Must love Mexican food. That is absolutely okay. Well, I don't know if this is going to make it on your dating app. What is something you were forced to eat growing up, but you hated as a kid?
Oh gosh, I didn't have a lot of that because my mom's not into vegetables, so she didn't force it on us too much. But my dad is. He would, and I don't know why, but cauliflower was always the thing that he would try to make us eat. And I, to this day, don't like it unless it's like made into a crust of a pizza. But cauliflower is that one thing and I'm just like, no, I can't. And I love every other vegetable. Just can't do cauliflower.
Hey, We all have our loves
Yeah.
and our disloves. So it doesn't
Exactly.
sound like it made it to the level of dating profile. But folks,
No.
if you're looking, don't show up
Be
at the door
single.
with a bouquet of cauliflower.
Yeah, exactly.
Lacey,
Broccoli.
it is. What say that?
Oh, broccoli I'll take.
Oh, I thought you said coffee. Okay,
Oh
broccoli.
no. Oh, and that, but yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Lacey, it's time to leave the first
Okay.
class lounge. What is one item, not including your phone and not including your passport, that you will not leave home without?
It's got to be my earbuds or something I can listen to music and podcast with. I get really anxious in having to just sit somewhere in my own head.
Mm-hmm.
So podcasts is what keeps me going, and so I have to have earbuds. I got to have those, and my battery backup for my phone.
Well, Lacey, I'm certainly glad to hear that podcasts are important. I'm slightly biased towards that media, and so I'm glad that you are a podcast person.
Yeah, I've been telling my family, I'm like, I don't know when it comes out, but I'm going to send it to y'all.
That's awesome. So we've been talking about employee experience, and I want to know a little bit about customer experience. How have you seen the JumBurrito employee experience directly influence the delivery of customer experience?
Well, I think if you have a bad day, you're going to reflect that into everything. So we got to have our employees happy. And otherwise, you're going to run into, anybody has a bad day. But yeah, you just got to make sure your employees are happy so that they can push that, even if it is just like, hey, how's it going? How was your day? Just to somebody that they wouldn't even talk to, whether it's in the store or outside the store. But you just have to keep your employees happy because that's who takes care of your people. And those are the ones that's going to, customers are going to tell people that you have a good experience. They're going to only tell one person. And if they have a bad experience, they're going to tell 10. That's
Right.
the old retail and customer service rule. So make sure your employees are happy and they'll make sure your customers are happy.
Okay, so along with creating the environment, and we talked about that, the first part of the show is all about creating that environment. Are there elements that JumBurrito is doing to help either equip or train or even maybe just hire for that spirit of customer service, customer experience? How does that play out at JumBurrito?
But we've had a lot of experience doing that just because we've been around so long. But we just we want to hire the best people. That's sometimes slim pickings. You also just want to make sure your employees are knowledgeable about all of your products and all of your services. And then that will go through to your customers. We just switched to our reward program around at the beginning of the year. So we had to make sure that our employees were trained on that and knew exactly what was going on because our customers have had this other reward program for so long and they're so used to it. And a lot of things are changing that if I walk in and I'm like, hey, where's this reward? And the cashier's like, I don't know. Then that doesn't look good on us. So we want to make sure our cashiers know everything they need to know before the customer walks in asking.
This was an unexpected turn. I didn't think that we'd be talking about this, but this is too important for me to pass up. That what you're describing is so vital. You're describing something in the small company, right? And we hear about it in the big companies all the time. My own daughter experienced this when she was working at a movie chain where rollouts of concepts and foods were introduced from headquarters and the front line had no idea what was going on. In fact, there was one time the daughter she was at the counter and the customer pointed over her head and said, well, it's there on the menu. Turns around backwards and realizes, oh, well, I didn't know that was here.
Yeah.
So it may be theoretically easier inside the small company, but you still had to choose to do that. How did y'all become aware of just knowing, hey, we're doing this new thing. We've got to roll it out. What does that look like on your scale so that those that are listening that are on the larger scale can emulate that? How did y'all train and equip?
Well, like I said, just using the new reward program, it's something we had looked at. And it wasn't a new reward program to have a new reward program. We've had that forever. I think as a locally owned company, it's crazy that we even had what we had. And now everybody has it. Like every restaurant has an app. We didn't have the app. We had a reward card. And now we have an app. So that's why that had to change because we got a new website where you can order online and we got an app where you can order online. So our employees needed to know all of that information first. And connects to the reward program. They have to be able to explain that to the customer. That
I see. Yeah.
Yeah. And we have a long development chain of this, and a lot of it's in the office. And then when it pushes out to our district manager, and then he pushes it out to the store managers. They have store manager meetings, they have assistant manager meetings, and then we have signage. We have a marketing person in San Antonio that takes care of all that stuff. All of our employees see these huge signs. We have table tents, and then we also send out emails to our customers, because we have their email from the reward program.
Right.
Hey, this is changing. But the most important thing, yes, like you said, a customer comes in and is like, hey, what is this? And my employee looks at them like a deer in the headlights. That's on our end. We messed up.
Right.
So we have to make sure that doesn't happen.
And it sounds like you've got that structure in place that it doesn't, whether it's a cascade or the other communications that are there. Lacey, we're coming near the end of time here for our conversation together. It makes me a little bit sad, but it does mean that I'm at least that many more minutes closer to finally enjoying a JumBurrito.
Yes.
I want to talk about this local brand aspect of this, which, again, I'm committing to coming there in the next road trip. Do you think that customer experience carries a different weight for local brands as compared to national or global ones?
For us, definitely, but I think so, just because you could see that owner of any restaurant or any little like retail shop or little chain in the area. You could see them at the grocery store. You could see them eating at a different restaurant. Jose was on the city council. He was president of TABC at the state of Texas. And so he has a lot of community development, water board, things like that. And so everybody knows him. So I think you have to like step that up just a little bit, because they could literally walk in this office. People know where we are. Our corporate address is on the website. They walk in and it's like, hey, knock, knock. I want to talk to Jose. Somebody messed up my order. Like, they can and have literally done that. So to make sure things like that don't happen, we have to be good at the front line, and that's our restaurants. But yeah, having a local
I like that.
and a known person,
Right.
like I said, people know who he is. Like, they'll be like, hey, I used to work, Jose and I have known each other for 20 years. I'm going to tell him that this didn't work for me. I'm like, okay, hold on.
Boy, that's a next level. You know, you hear about people complaining to the CEO of AT&T or something like that. No, this is, hey, no,
is that CEO going to read that email? No, he's got family. He's got family in this area. So if something's wrong, like, they tell the sister, and then the sister tells Jose, and then we get to hear about it. So it's like very, very important to us, because he is that connected, but he's that available. And that's the way we like it, because he's a local business person. So he wants to be available, but you don't want it to be for a bad reason.
No, I would not think that. No. That definitely takes the, sort of, that phrase that was out there, founder mode, which I wasn't a fan of, but the idea of still being connected all the way down to exactly what is happening at that front line.
He's no undercover boss. Like, he's in there. He will be behind the counter some days, and they're like, why is he working here
Well, it's
today?
Probably real hard for him to be undercover, is what I would imagine.
No undercover.
How does that then relate to how JumBurrito engages with the community in general?
This community has helped him and his family for the past 45 years, so he helps back. We always, of course, people are going to hit us up for donations for different school events or fundraisers. So we do those things for people, for organizations. We'll even just donate tortillas. Like, there's a church here that does a big family festival thing, and they make their own whatever, but they always ask for tortillas to be donated. And so we've done that. We also just kicked off, or are about to kick off, our rewards give back, where every swipe of your reward card, which we don't have anymore, every transaction with your reward card, he gives 50 cents back to the West Texas Food Bank. And we've done that for 2 decades, I think. And so it's like $15,000, $20,000 checks, because it's every single time they swipe their card, it's 50 cents to the West Texas Food Bank, which equals I don't even know, tons of meals. I don't know how they do it.
Yeah.
They're amazing, amazing organizations. But like, we just help the community as much as we can.
Yeah. Well, and I think that even extends into employee experience. I'm making an assumption here, but I would imagine that also, if I'm an employee of JumBurrito or a brand that is doing something like that, then I'm proud. I'm proud to have my name out there. I don't have the same feelings. Yeah, right. So the idea of, if you see your sign on the Little League baseball field, or know that you sponsored that fundraiser at the church, or the West Texas Food Bank, there's some pride there. Lacey, this has been a lot of fun. Getting to hear. It's nice to get that kind of local and small story, because it truly is inspirational, and in many ways the better way of operating business than what we may see in the national and global players. So I've appreciated having you share your insights, your stories. I'm also glad that you have made it very clear that Mexican food is a must and a cauliflower is a not. And so everybody listening, keep that in mind if you're heading to Midland. Lacey, it's been a great story. If others wanted to get to know more about that story, about you, your approach to employee experience, your experience with JumBurrito or the JumBurrito brand in general, how can they learn more?
We have a website, just JumBurrito.com. You can order food if you're local. You have to pick it up in the store, but we do have a website.
You're not shipping to Ireland?
Food. Not shipping to Ireland. I can't ship to Frisco. Actually, I have shipped burritos. That's a lie. I have shipped our stew meat avocado burritos all the way to Florida and Louisiana and North Carolina.
Okay,
but
folks.
I have to freeze them first, so they're not like the best quality, but they're still amazing. My brother gets them all the time.
I do believe this is a first for CX Passport. Not only are you getting to know a little bit more about how to connect with Lacey and learn the JumBurrito brand, and I will get that link in the show notes, you could get an order, if you're in the U.S., of the stew meat avocado burrito. That sounds awesome. So there's your opportunity.
Number one bestseller. Well, it is available, but you have to pay for the shipping. So that's the only bad part.
Well, I was not intending CX Passport to be an advertisement for the food delivery. However, I don't mind here, because I might be partaking of this myself. Lacey, I am so thankful that you were joining me here on CX Passport. I'm also very thankful to iSolved for sponsoring this episode. It's been a delight partnering with them, and I know you've enjoyed partnering with them as well. Lacey, thank you for being on CX Passport.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks for joining us this week on CX Passport. If you like today's episode, I have 3 quick next steps for you. Click subscribe on the CX Passport YouTube channel or your favorite podcast app. Next, leave a comment below the video or a review in your favorite podcast app so others can find and enjoy CX Passport too. Then head over to cxpassport.com for show notes and resources that can help you create tangible business results by delivering great customer experience. Until next time, I'm Rick Denton, and I believe the best meals are served outside and require a passport.